How's it going, everyone? It's Ben Falcons Media Corner back again with a brand new video for today. Welcome back to the movie review, aka for a Saw review video for today. This time for this new episode for the series, this is going to be my review on the 2022 romantic drama, and that is My Policeman. This is directed by Michael Grandage, and this is based on the book of the same name. And this movie is basically set in the 1950s in Brighton, where we follow this policeman named Tom, played by Harry Styles, who falls in love with an English school teacher named Marion, played by Emma Corrin. And we basically see them get married. But for Tom, he ends up finding himself in a same-sex affair with this man who works in the museum named Patrick, played by Dawson, in spite that homosexuality was illegal back then. So we see that happening, and we basically see Tom trying to make a choice and all that, who he's really in love with. And so pretty much this whole movie is basically a love triangle between three important characters, which is Tom, Marion, and Patrick. So that's pretty much the story of My Policeman. Now, this one did look pretty interesting to me and all that, even though I never read the book before, because this movie is actually based off the book, and I've never read it, but from what I've heard about the book, I've heard it's supposed to be pretty good. But this one, like I said, did look pretty interesting to me and all that, even though when I did a bit of research of the whole film and what it was about, the plot for the film, it did sound pretty simple, really, and basic, what I was going for and all that. Where it's basically a love triangle about a man who is gay, and he's a policeman, and he ends up having an affair with a man, despite that he is married to a woman and all that, which, yeah, it did sound pretty basic and all that for basically a love triangle story and all that. But this one still, like I said, did look pretty interesting to me because of the people who were involved in this film, like the director, Michael Grandage. Well, I've never seen any of his films before, but I was pretty intrigued to see what he was going to do for this movie. And for the cast in the film, you got some talented names in the film, like Harry Styles, which he has done movies before, like Dunkirk, and most recently Don't Worry Darling, which, let's not go into that film. And then you also have Emma Corrin, which you may know her from The Crown, and David Dawson as well. I was pretty interested in seeing what these people were going to do for this movie and all that. And once the trailers did drop by, I was really looking forward to it as well. And once more trailers dropped by, I was looking forward to it even more. But I wasn't like massively excited or anything like that. It wasn't like one of my most anticipated films or anything like that. But no, I was actually kind of looking interested. I was actually really interested in seeing this one, and I was also looking forward to it. And this movie was released on Amazon Prime this year. It came out just a month ago, and I did watch this on Amazon Prime on release day and all that. And after watching this whole movie, this movie unfortunately wasn't great. Is it a terrible film? No, this is definitely not a bad film. For me, I just thought this was sort of a mixed bag for me, but it was overall kind of a mess of a movie here. Like, there's a few problems I do have with this movie, even though there's a few things I did appreciate while I was watching this film along the way. Like, the direction for this film, it's pretty serviceable at times. Like, there are some good shots in the film from its production value, since this film is set in the Brighton coast area, which I did like some of those shots in the film. But there are some other shots in the film which I kind of found pretty distracting and overall just not that great, which that's one of the weakest aspects that they have with this film. And the script for this film I did find pretty cheesy for the lines of dialogues here and there. And the story for this film I kind of found it pretty weak and less structured really for a whole gay love triangle story and all that, which for a story like that, it did sound interesting, but for the way it was portrayed in this film, I did find it really predictable, really for like what's going to happen and all that. And it also kind of lacks some stuff and all that in this film, which it kind of lacks on any of the characters, like who is really the main protagonist in the film. And this film doesn't even know which story perspective is really following on any of these characters. Like if it's trying to follow like Harry Styles' character or Emma Corrin's character or David Dawson's character, this film had no idea which character it's trying to follow and all that, and which side of the story is telling here for this movie, which I found it really distracting. And there are some character choices in the film as well, which I also found it really distracting as well and really lacking of as well. And the acting in the film was pretty solid. Emma Corrin, who plays Marion, she gave a solid performance. David Dawson, who plays Patrick, I thought he was very good in the movie. You also have Linus Roache, who plays the older version of Tommy. I thought he was pretty solid in the film. Gine McKee, who plays the older version of Marion, I thought she was pretty good. And Rupert Everett, who plays the older version of Patrick, I thought he was pretty good in the film. Although he doesn't have to do much in the film because he's kind of like ill in the film because he's in a wheelchair and all of that. And when it comes to Harry Styles in the film, which, like I said, for his acting in Don't Worry Darling, I didn't really think his acting was all that great. But for here, his acting didn't really amaze me that much. I wouldn't say it is as worse than Don't Worry Darling, though. But I can say he was trying his best, but for the way he was given for his character, really, the way he was given for the character of Tom in this film, didn't really amaze me that much for when he's trying to learn about his sexuality or anything like that, which I kind of found that overall not that great. And for moments where and for the when it gets to some of its dramatic moments with him, I kind of felt was a bit over the top. Like there's one scene which is being shown in the trailer, which for when he's talking to Patrick and like when he's telling him like he doesn't know what love is all about, he doesn't know what love feels like and all that. I kind of found that scene really over the top, and his acting was a bit over the top for that moment. But overall, in the end, guys, My Policeman, again, this wasn't a bad film. This movie was overall sort of a mixed, yet sort of mess of a movie here. And it was overall an okay film. Like I said, it has some solid performances. It's got some good direction and all of that. But again, for the whole story for the film, I kind of found it pretty much weak and less structured, really. And there are some directing moments which I kind of found pretty distracting. And the script for the film is really cheesy and all of that. But if you're a fan of the book and if you're a fan of like LGBTQ plus films and all that, or you're a fan of the cast, this may be a good cup of tea. And if you do have Amazon Prime, it is available to stream on Amazon Prime entirely for free. So that's pretty much all I have to say about My Policeman. I'm going to give My Policeman 2.5 out of 5. Again, as I said before, this movie definitely wasn't bad. This movie was sort of a mix, but yet sort of a mess of a film here. But overall, I just found this film to be okay for the most part, because there was some stuff I did appreciate while I was watching this film along the way, but there are some problems I did have with this movie while I was watching this along the way. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching my ACAF for a solo review on My Policeman, and let me know what you think of this movie. If you have seen this already, if you just recently checked out this movie, did you really adore this movie, or was this not really your cup of tea? As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and this has been Falcon's Media Corner signing off.